Oh, hey there, everyone. I am late because I am now currently live, and this was way harder, and it's probably not even necessary. But I'm currently live on every app imaginable. Okay, I'm on the Purple app. I am on the Clock app. I'm on the Book of Faces, and I'm on the Camera app, which I just found out how to do. So I'm live across them all. Oh, hey there, Ben. How you doing? Um, so if you guys see me like talking to one chat versus another, you know why. But this is pretty interesting. I didn't expect me being able to do this. By the way, in case anybody was going to buy me snacks tonight on the Purple app, I have Jello, vegan Jello. Yes, long time no see is definite. As soon as I'm home from Gen Con, we are hanging out, friend. Hey, Pete, how you doing? My word, this is terrifying. I could do this, right? I could totally do this. Why hasn't YouTube updated?
You never grow old, Michael.
Oh, there we go.
You'll never die.
Okay, that's why.
Which you must feed.
Alright, one of you made me have a snack. Where am I at? Okay, Vix wanted me to have some vegan Jella here, so let's do that. So it is nice to see everybody across pretty much everywhere. I'm telling ghost stories tonight. I was telling ghost stories tonight before Vix bought me was making me do a ghostly giggle, which is a paranormal pun. Give me one moment. Okay, let me get this one quick. What is a cryptid's favorite song? Vix, what is a cryptid's favorite song? Oh, hey there, Pete. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. The answer is ghouls just want to have fun. That's the joke. And then let me see. Facebook is currently. Hold on, give me a minute. Why is Facebook acting up? That makes no sense. Here we go, I fixed it. I'm not used to streaming on all of these platforms, so that's pretty impressive, let me tell you. Alright, so Althea and Indy are watching. Oh, my babies. Alright, guys, so we got 3 books tonight. With 3 different purposes. I have a Dictionary of Ghosts by Peter Haining. They have some ghost stories in here, but it's mostly certain situational paranormal stuff. So we could read from this one first. This one was a gift from my mother, I believe. Can you has what? My Dictionary of Ghosts? Or my Jello? Art in YouTube says, "Hey Bob, has Count Panic gone all doughy for me on this week?" Oh yeah, Art, he definitely is. He's Count Panic, for you guys who don't know, is probably the most important person in our area right now. He's Mr. Pierogi, and that is a much massive big deal if you know what Pierogi Fest is. So that's why you guys are getting me on stream tonight doing this instead of gaming, you know? So let me switch over to I have two different vibes of music tonight, guys. We can stick to this while I read you ghost stories, or we can play this for you. It's more spookier, so you let me know what you prefer to listen to in chats. I'll take a vote and whatever you guys want to hear. It's whatever the royalty-free thing is that I picked out. The book, Bob, I want to read it. Yes, I will let you read that. Mr. Pierogi, yes. Alright. Wow, that's a lot of thunder. Jeez. Alright. So the next book is True Ghost Stories, Haunted Heartland from the American Midwest. I read a Chicago story the other day about a firefighter's handprint that didn't go away. I could read that one to you guys again if you want. But I have that book to read from. I'm from the Midwest, so I like these kinds of books. When I'm back at my office up north, which I will be this weekend, I have way more paranormal books up there than I do here. Like, I have an entire library to pick from. So if you guys are interested in me doing this again, let me know. Except then it'll just be on the Purple app. Bang bang, so you guys could go over there. Spookier would be the vibe. Sounds good. Alright, and then finally I have this one's very special. This is The Cabinet of Curiosities by Aaron Mahnke. Aaron is the creator of the podcast Lore, which is a super popular paranormal podcast, probably top 3 biggest paranormal shows in the world. He had a really popular show of the same name, and I got a chance to meet him at this particular book signing earlier this year. He signed it to me. Stay curious, Bob. And that was pretty cool. Like, he came out and talked about his job as a paranormal researcher, and like different stories that he read from. So whatever you guys are interested in from to read from first, whoever types up the first one can have me, you guys can jump on over and let me know what you want to read from first. Hey Des, nice to see you. And by the way, folks, I'm jumping between 5 chats right now. So if I miss you on one, don't worry. I'll be right back. I'll jump to the next one next to come say hi to you. The clock app is the one where I'm more concerned about, because I just hope you guys are going to pay attention. Let's see here. So what book do you guys want me to read from first? Ghost stories? Okay, I heard Art wants the ghost stories, so we're going to do that. Alright, so this is True Ghost Stories, Haunted Heartland from America Midwest by Beth Scott and Michael Norman. I think my aunt got me this one, because I think it came from Thrifty Books, which is a website that anybody who's into the paranormal should know about, because they're or anybody who's super into reading. Thrifty Books is like world's cheapest website to buy books from, I guess. I'm not sponsored by them by any means, so take it or leave it. Alright, so let's begin, shall we? And by the way, let me know if the music's too loud, folks. I think it's a little loud for me, so I'm going to turn it down just a pinch. I just heard a noise behind me. Who is behind me? Huh. I'm not joking with you guys. I'm being serious here that something moved behind me. We're gonna move on. Might be just my dad coming to say hi. I wouldn't doubt it. Alright, so let's read one from my home state in Indiana. This is where I grew up. Indiana, in northwest Indiana. This is probably one of the most famous ghost stories out of the area you'll ever find. But let me read to you guys about Diana of the Dunes. The naked young woman walked nimbly across the sand, and I promise you guys this is a part of the story. It's not smut. Storm is starting here, by the way. Okay, be safe, Vix, if you gotta bounce out and do your thing. The naked young woman walked nimbly across the sand of the dunes, sheltered by the grove of the black oak trees that shut out the sun. Emerging on the beach, she stopped to watch the shorebirds tottering on long, spindly legs as they searched for breakfast at water's edge. The woman plunged into the frigid water, and she swam as gracefully as a dolphin, her strong, swift strokes carrying her body effortlessly through the water. After swimming back to shore, she raced over to the sand to get dry. Next, she stood erect, raised her arms, and tilted her face to the sky, as saying, giving thanks for the glory of the day. Then she vanished across the dunes in the direction she had come. Who was she? Well, she was called Diana of the Dunes, and from 1915 until her death in 1925, she lived the then wild and rugged Indiana Dunes country that hugs the Lake Michigan shore. She might have lived and died in obscurity had someone not seen her bathing nude. Perhaps it was a fisherman casting a line, or a seaman far out on the water turning binoculars toward the shore, but would soon spread about the, and I quote, nude bronze goddess of the wilderness. The press, sensing a story, sent reporters in search of the goddess. East of Gary, where there was virtually no habitation, they found her living in an abandoned fisherman's shack. She granted an interview, and then another person who pleaded to, and another, always graciously, as she was still a private person, who pleaded to be left alone. For nearly 70 years, the story of Diana of the Dunes had been printed and reprinted with variations in the legend of the Hoosier State. Even today, visitors to what is now Indiana Dunes State Park report seeing the ghost of the mysterious Diana hurrying across the sands at twilight, or hearing sobs coming from the ruins of the old shanty that once was her home. Ooh, what do you guys think of this story so far? The line between myth and reality is finally drawn, and while legend and truth do share many aspects in common, there are also decidedly different others. What follows is the legend of Diana of the Dunes. Diana was born Alice Mabel Gray, the daughter of a prominent Chicago physician. She was well educated and well traveled and had held a secretarial job, but excuse me, but a broken love affair shattered the young woman's world and sent her into a remote dunes country. Supposedly, she arrived in the dunes with only clothes on her back, a glass, knife, spoon, blanket, and 2 guns. After sleeping on the sand for several nights, she discovered a deserted fisherman's shack and moved in. Driftwood served as her furniture. At first, Alice lived on fish she netted and wild fruits and berries. Excuse me. In time, she sold berries and fruit wine to earn money for essentials. Wearing out stout boots and khaki clothing, she trudged many miles to Miller, Indiana for food and library books. People who came to know her said she was shy, but was always kind and courteous. The same could not be said for some of Alice's neighbors. As she roamed the dunes, studied and read or wrote, voyeurs made her life a hell of dodging and hiding. Fishermen, knowing that the young woman swam nude year-round, ran onto the beach dry, found excuses to visit her beach. While one fisherman's wife learned of she learned of her husband's habit, she stormed Alice's shack to protest. Alice, with a gun in hand and a half-wild dog by her side, warned the wife away. I think this is Ben's kind of story. In 1920, a man joined Alice, a mysterious person named Paul Wilson. He was described variously as a press accounts of the day as a Texas rattlesnake hunter who had read of the woman and came to woo her. An ex-convict with a police record for armed robbery in the Kansas or Michigan City near Duell. He was tall, strong, and resourceful. He improved the little shack immeasurably, peddled fish he caught, and sold handcrafted furniture. Their finances improved, and Alice was content. She could not know that violence would destroy her that's promising new life. In June 1922, dunes hikers found the ghastly remains on a man near Alice's shack. He had been strangled to death and was partially cremated on the beach. Paul Wilson was the chief suspect. He was known for his hot temper, his great strength, and his dislike for strangers. When Eugene Frank, a deputy hired to guard the Dunes cottages, confronted an angry Alice and Paul, a fight took place. Paul was shot in the foot and Alice's skull was fractured by the butt of a pistol. Police arrested Paul and Deputy Frank. Alice was transported to Mercy Hospital in Gary, where she had hovered her death. Someone vandalized the shack while the couple was gone, taking all of Alice's books and manuscripts. Yep, I like this lady. Oh, hey there, Neko. Got it on the big screen tonight. We'll be in the lurks. Sounds good, Neko. Sorry, guys. I was reading and playing catch up on all the different comments. I heard something fall next to me. Me too. No kidding, Mart. Spooky stuff, let me tell you that. Playing catch up. Oh, hey there. Oh, hey there, folks in Instagram chat. Nice to see you guys. Nolly's there. Oh, hey there to all my folks over in the TikTok realm. Nice to see you guys. All right, let me get back to work here. Sorry, I missed the live there. Let's get back to work. Okay, hold on. Sorry, let me pop back up on my Twitch chat here. Sorry, Purple app. Someone vandalized the shack while the couple was gone, taking all of Alice's books and manuscripts. Meanwhile, Wilson deepened the murder mystery by retelling police that insane gun-toting hermit named Burke might be their man. Burke had a twisted foot, and Wilson claimed he had seen Burke's tracks near the murder scene. But by then, any telltale track was trampled upon by police, reporters, and morbid sightseers. Burke couldn't be found. Was he the victim? If not, who was? And why was he slain? The body was never identified. The case was never solved. Paul Wilson was exonerated. Alice was discharged from the hospital but never fully recovered from her injury. Harassed by sightseers, she and Paul moved a few miles further east, but progress closed in on them. A new housing development known as Ogden Dunes was being built as their makeshift shack, or built around their makeshift shack. Alice and Paul, disposed again, went to Texas, but returned within a year. Alice was contracted Uramaic poisoning. On February 11th, 1925, Alice Mabel Gray died in Paul Wilson's arms. Knowing she was dying, she asked to be cremated with her ashes scattered over the sand she loved, but no facilities were made available, and the authorities refused to let Paul make a funeral pyre on the beach. Alice was buried in Gary's Oak Lawn Cemetery, but a reporter who searched for the grave 40 years later never found it. Not even cemetery workers were certain on this location. In death, this sensitive and gentle woman found at least the privacy she sought so desperately in her life. 5 years later, after Alice's death, a Paul Wilson was convinced of a robbery and taken to the state prison at Michigan City. Was it Alice's Paul? No one knew. That's the legend of Diana the Dunes. However, the real story of Alice Mabel Gray differs in a number of respects. Alice Gray was no legendary beauty romping naked in the sand dunes. She did bathe in the lake, of course, for she had no other facilities. But a ravishing young lady? Hardly. She was 34 years old when she went to live in the dunes and was described as exceedingly plain and tiny. I was going to say, what's wrong with being 34 years old? I'm 34 years old. Let me shine some light on me here. It's getting a little dark. Alice had graduated from the University of Chicago, a member of Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society, and an unusual accomplishment in an era when few women sought higher education and had no value was placed on a woman's intellectual achievements. After graduation, Alice took the only job she could find, an editorial secretary of an astronomy magazine. But it wasn't a broken love affair that caused her to leave Chicago. In an early interview, she told a reporter that her eyesight had begun to fail and that a physician had given her the wrong medicine, which made it impossible for her to continue the close work of the magazine job required. She chose to live in the work in her magazine job required. She chose to live in the Indiana Dunes because it was a familiar place. She had been there many times and, in fact, written a naturalist dissertation on the area when she was a student. Hardly the stuff of legend. And Paul Wilson, well, he actually was a skilled boat builder and handyman. He and Alice shared an uncomplicated life of simple pleasures. Saddened by her untimely death, that was a real story until 1981. In that year, a researcher who spent years pursuing the story of Alice Mabel Gray and Paul Wilson turned up a well-documented information. His findings are, in a sense, even more lurid than the legend. When Alice died of Uramaic poisoning, she also died of massive blows to her abdomen. Alice was buried in a cemetery plot with other bodies. No wonder the reporter couldn't find her grave. And the gravekeeper was convinced or burying several persons in the same grave. Alice's manuscripts had actually been taken from her shack and preserved by her relatives. Paul Wilson has never married Alice. He was married to another woman. Paul Wilson actually was the illegitimate son of a distinguished LaPorte County family. Wilson was not his last name, or Wilson was not his real name. Wilson had a lengthy criminal record. After being released from prison in California, he was shot to death while stealing a car. Later, an astonishing story from California seemed to support at least one of the researchers' findings. In the winter of 1982 issue of Dunes Country magazine, Marguerite Bell Johannesson wrote a detailed account of her association with Alice Mabel Gray. Mrs. Johannesson was 12 years old and growing up in Michigan City, Indiana. She said she babysat for Alice's children. She recalled that the house at 309 Finley Street was a shabby frame bungalow with sagging porch and dingy windows with cracked green shades. Inside, a barren room held 2 chairs and 2 rustic pedestals. Toys littered the floor. Mrs. Johannesson, who was formerly known as Margaret, described her first meeting with Mrs. Wilson, whose real identity was unknown to her. The faded smock did little to disguise the ungainliness of her body, yet she crossed the worn floor in old moccasins as quietly as if she was barefoot. Her hair was shapeless, untidy, long and dark, pinned back carelessly from the features, clean-cut as a coin. It was a proud, arresting face, the eyes deepest as if it was a secret, a special knowledge. She had a naive delicacy that had nothing to do with social elegance. Dreamy, whimsical, absent-minded, she would start to do something. See something else to be done, forget the first errand, finish nothing. Margaret would earn 10 cents an hour looking for after Alice's daughter, Benita, 2 afternoons a week after school. Margaret recalled the child said it looked perhaps 7 years old. She had long, coarse black hair, set in an oval face with high cheekbones. Benita said her father was an Indian who had been shot and killed. Her mother had told her that. She told Margaret that was puzzled. She knew I believe they mean natives, so we're going to use the term native. She knew of no native closer than northern Michigan. Bonita also had 5 names, the last of which was Wilson. Alice and the child seemed nervous and frightened around Mr. Wilson, and little Margaret was nervous too. She wrote the breadth of his chest, the size of those hands was a little frightening. His hair was overlong, thickly bound, coiled and curled around his home. His hairs of the gods in the mythology book at home. His small, incurious eyes were china blue, devoid of warmth or even interest. No answering expression appeared on his sullen, shut face. The family lived mostly on stale bakery goods. Margaret understood that Mr. Wilson was a woodcutter, yet she never saw any wood-cutting tools in the house, and it was unlawful to cut trees down in the dunes area. Because Margaret's uneasiness in the presence of Mr. Wilson, Alice promised never to leave the girl alone with him. Alice and Margaret soon became close friends, and in a rare and wonderful way to which sometimes a child and a woman relate to each other. The older woman enjoyed Margaret greatly and confided in her. She told Margaret about her years at a girls' school in Massachusetts and complained about the way society treated women, keeping them ignorant and complacent in a world made for men's pleasure. Margaret didn't always understand what Alice meant and thought sometimes that the woman was crazy. On a November day, Alice told Margaret not to come for a while. She'd be going to Chicago to meet Michael Reese lying in a hospital to have her baby. Margaret and her mother thought it was odd for her to go so far. Poor people that had babies at home, the Wilsons were poor. After the baby was born, Margaret returned to the Wilsons. The new little girl was named Bluebell. Her eyes were the exact same shade of the colored flower that colored in the dunes in the spring. The family was now poorer than ever, and Margaret was often embarrassed to take money she knew they couldn't afford. Then came the day that Margaret would never forget. As she entered the Wilson's house, fear tightened her throat. Bonita was nowhere to be seen. Alice, on the verge of tears, stood wringing her hands. The bedroom door crashed open, and Paul Wilson thundered out of the room. By God, he yelled. His face was red and blotchy, and stormed out the door. Margaret looked at Alice. Bruises were beginning to show on her arms and wrists. A gentleman would strike a lady where it didn't show, wouldn't he? Alice said, white as her eyes were wet. Alice sat down and wrote a note for Margaret to take home to her mother. Margaret noted the fine, delicate handwriting. She would never have dared to unfold the sheet of paper, but she knew somehow that she would not be working for Mrs. Wilson any longer. Margaret's mother read the note and called Mrs. Wilson. Returning home, she drew her daughter aside. She's the woman they call Diana the Dune, she began. I'm sorry for her, but of course I can't let you go there anymore. She paused. She needs help. She has a family, but she'll never go back to her own people. Poor creature. The definitive story of Alice Mabel Gray may never be known, and perhaps that's the way it should be. All the woman ever wanted was to be right and left alone. Like Henry David Thoreau, Alice Gray lived her life moving to a tune of a different drummer, and some say that Alice had never left her beloved dunes, and that by the light of the full moon, her ghost stands silhouetted on the beach, giving thanks to the glory of the night. What do you guys think of that one? Pretty spooky stuff, huh? Let me check in on the chats real quick here. Art says in chat, every time I swim naked at the beach, I get arrested. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Ben said he liked this lady. 1961 was a good year. Okay. I couldn't tell you I wasn't there. But that was the story of Diana the Dunes, everybody. A paranormal story right out of my home neck of the woods in Northwest Indiana. I hope you enjoyed the stream tonight, because as much as I enjoyed giving it to being able to read the story to all of you guys. I might do this again on Sunday. It'll just be on the Purple app, which you could find on my profile and all the links. So maybe I'll do this again Sunday night, maybe Friday night. So just stick around, okay, guys? And I will talk to all of you later.